Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDA44. So I'm just thinking about something. I'm not an investment advisor by any stretch of the imagination. Hell, I'm a broke guy. So if anything, I'm just telling you guys what I'm learning or what I've learned. This is not new news for me, but I did have it on my mind, so I might as well just document it. That's what this is. So um, anyway, as you guys have probably already seen, if you've watched any of my other videos where I talk about this, I'm very much involved in AMC. I do have one share of GME that I have no intention of selling, but I got a lot of shares of, a lot for my standards, a lot of shares of AMC, and have every intention of purchasing more. But I think I came here to tell you it doesn't matter what stock you're interested in. This applies to every and all stocks, especially for people who don't have endless amounts of money. Now, if you have endless amounts of money, this can apply to you certainly, but it's not really. I guess you have a different vantage point than myself. But let's say I got like $1,000 to invest, right? If I got $1,000 to invest, let's say I want to buy a share of company A, and company A is worth $1,000 a share. Do I have enough to buy a share? Yes, sure I do. Go take my $1,000, purchase a share. I'm in. Here's the thing, though. When you wait for a dip, which means when you wait for the price to come down, yes, you're waiting for the price to come down so you can bargain shop just like anything else. But unlike waiting for the price to come down when you're buying, say, cereal or gas or something like that, when you're waiting for the price to come down in those situations, you're just going for the ability to pay less and receive whatever your portions are. But in the stock game, what you want is more shares, more opportunities to have pieces of that company. It's not like buying anything else at all, because bargaining, shopping in investment matters for different reasons. And it took me some trial and error and some real understandings, kind of hands-on experiences to kind of understand that fully. Because I used to be like everybody else, and I'm listening to a lot of people on forums, which is why I'm making this video here, saying things like, for example, if you want to purchase AMC is at what, 13 something dollars today. It went up a lot. And the question was, should I wait for a dip? Every situation, I believe, is different. You can't really accurately predict anything, and there are going to be instances where you use knowledge from other situations and applying it to a specific situation in stocks, and you will fail, because even though tendencies tend to be alike, there are always those one occasions where it goes against the grain, and now you play it a certain way and it gives you the wrong results, because there's no two situations that are quite alike. So stocks are very, very, very nuanced. It's very, very sensitive. Any little thing can change everything, and there's no perfect science to it at all, despite what people say. There's none. But what I will say is, in regards to buying shares, you want to wait for dips. You want to purchase at lower prices, not just because you want to put out less money for whatever you're buying. It's because you want to accumulate more shares. You want to get more shares for your $1,000. So let's say I take those same $1,000 I was going to buy one share of company A. Well, company B is selling each share for $1. It's $1 a share. So now, that doesn't mean that company B is going to be better than company A, or it doesn't even tell you that, but it does let me understand that with my $1,000, if I purchase company A, yeah, that share could be worth an unlimited amount, or it can go down and I could be left holding the bag. But one thing's for certain, whenever I sell out of my position, I only have one share. Regardless of what it's worth, at the end of the day, I can only let go of that one share, which means just that. If I let go of that share, I'm out the game with that company. I don't have no ownership in that company. There's nothing I can make off of their profit. Wherever it goes after I sell it, it's over, because I'm out. So let's say company A goes up to $10,000. I sold it for $2,000. I got a profit, but I only have one share. Now when that share is sold, It runs up and I'm out. I don't get any money out of that. But if I would have purchased 2 shares, if I would have had $2,000 to give it, then when it goes to $2,000 and I sell out, I can still run up that 1 share that I have up to $10,000 and sell a year from now and still be in the game with the company. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever changes the company goes through, I can still go along for the ride. So more shares equals more profit equals more skin in the game. And that's what you want in stocks, skin in the game. So in this particular situation, maybe company B is a better investment for me, because in doing with my little $1,000, I can get 1,000 shares. And if all those shares go to $3, $4, $15, $50, guess what I have? The amount, I'm not going to even do math, the amount that comes with having 1,000 shares at $1 a piece. So what do you do when the company goes completely bananas? You're happy with where the price goes, but you don't necessarily want to get out of the position, right? You're happy it went to $30, you're sitting on a bunch of money, now it's time to cash out. But guess what? I still believe it can go to 60, but I do want to take some money out because I made some money. I like money. I want to now purchase. I've done my job. I held, and it bloomed, and we're happy. But it can still run up. So guess what? I can sell 500, sell half of my position maybe. Maybe I want to sell half the position. I still have 500 shares that allow me to stay in the game. And if somewhere down the road it goes up to an astronomical space, I can sell another 250 and I'll still be in the game. But if I only took my $1,000 and bought that 1 share of company A, guess what? No game, no investment, we're out. We're gone. We have to find another ladder to climb, or climb back into this one at a different price. But the most important thing to understand is that one bag of $1,000 that I have sitting next to me, it's there for me to invest. So it really doesn't matter. This is what I've learned in stocks. It really doesn't matter truly what the valuation of the stock actually is as it pertains to 1 share. Like let's say 1 share is $50. Well, I'm still investing $1,000 regardless. So if I put it into something that's worth $100 a share, if I put it into something that's $50 a share, the most important thing is that I still have the same amount that I intended to invest in that company. So what I want to do is, for my $1,000, I want to get as many shares as humanly possible. That's key. That's key. Depending on what you're investing in, depending on if that's your goal. But in this particular conversation, for it being my goal, that's what I'm presenting to you. That would be my goal. I want as many shares as possible for the reasons that I just explained to you. So my $1,000 is going to go much further if I wait for a dip. Now, again, this does not work in every situation. I have literally seen situations where I was waiting for a dip and the dip never came. When they did finally dip, it dipped higher than I initially, and then the price I initially looked at and said, you know what, I'll wait for a dip. In fact, it dipped much higher. It jumped about $20 before it ever had another red day. Now, that same stock, on some random day, maybe 4 months down the road, it dipped like 20%. And at that moment, if I had $1,000, you know how many shares I could have got? And for the $1,000 that I did put in, I may have gotten just randomly 50 shares. But if I would have waited to that perfect day, 4 months down the road, I could have got 200 shares for that exact same amount. And that is key, ladies and gentlemen. That is the point of the video I'm trying to make. That is what you need to understand and have worked into your equation when you take your bag of money, however that amount is, and invest into anything that you do in regards to stocks. You want to make sure you have an understanding of what it is that you're investing in, the projection of where it can go, and how many shares you can accumulate with the money that you have at that moment. And if you think you can get a dip or a discount, the discount is not to save yourself money. It's to load up on shares. That's it. That's what it's about, baby. You're not saving money because I'm still going to throw $1,000 in it regardless. But what the difference will be, whether that 1,000 is going to get me 50 shares or whether that 1,000 is going to get me 200 shares. And that is determined by what day you buy on and where it's at on the stock price in terms of whether or not you allowed it to dip or whether or not you bought on high or what have you. But remember, the more money you purchase for one particular share, the less shares you're going to get for your bag of money that you're investing. It's that simple. So, like if you're a guy who has $2,000, I probably wouldn't try to buy 1 share of Google, right? because Google is probably not going to be having a whole lot of upside from here in theory. Now, that doesn't mean anything. Google could be at $8,000 as to where it's at $2,000 right now, for example. It could be at $8,000 3 months from now. There's no perfect science. But what I'm saying is, if we're just going to pay the percentages, if we're going to look at what seems like it makes sense, which is all we can really go by based on the knowledge and based on our charts and based on everything that we have. If you're going to go by what seems like it makes sense, it probably makes more sense to buy into something that's has a lot more upside and has a lower value on each and every share, so you can get more shares. So that's what I wanted to come here and say. For those of y'all who are newbies in the stock market, I'm still fairly a newbie. I just started back in like 2018. And I've made a lot of mistakes, lost a lot of money. So I don't have the formula for what works for everyone or anything like that. I'm not that guy. But what I can say is this is what I've learned. And I know that there are a lot of new people getting into the stock market with this Wall Street bet situation and with Robinhood and all these little apps popping up. And a lot of us don't really understand why it's so important to wait for lower prices. You know, that's what it really comes down to. I don't think people are giving others bad advice, telling people buy on green because it's going to keep going up. It may, but I think a better strategy in that situation would be purchase some on green, give it some time, wait for whatever the next red day is going to be, and then purchase a little more that day. That way, if it goes up, let's say you bought some shares at $15, then the next week it drops to $9. You didn't throw your entire $1,000 at the 15 because now it's dropped to $9. You've lost profit temporarily because you're not going to sell. You're going to keep your shares, but you've lost profit temporarily, and you now realize that you could have taken that same $1,000, for example, and have bought twice as many shares if you would have waited until this day. But if, for example, of course, it does the opposite and keeps going up, at least you bought a little at that moment. And if there was never a dip to be found, no loss because you did purchase some shares at that price that was low. And you'll have to either invest more into that company or find a different company, but at least you're exposed in that company one way or another. So that's probably a better strategy than some of the strategies that I'm hearing people telling people to do, which is, we believe this is going up from here. It's never going to dip under this moment again. You need to throw all of your money in right away because that's what's best for you. And the reality is, no, it's not. It's not what's best for you. What's best for you is playing it smart. This is your money. You want to make sure that you find, first of all, listen to people who know what they're talking about, unlike myself, but you also want to apply the understanding of what I just given you. Contradiction, I know, but apply this understanding that the thinking is not because we want lower price, because we've already identified that we're going to invest this amount. We just want to make sure we get a bunch of shares. That's it. Give me a lot of shares. And what it is I believe in, I want as many shares as possible. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Do your own due diligence. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not just saying that for legal reasons. I don't want people to think that I am and start asking me questions that I can't answer. I'm not that guy. But I know what I know, and that's what I'm here to share. Thank you guys for watching. My name is BDF44. I'm out.